time on Take One, some local food recommendations and a horribly written breakup letter. On this week's episode, Chartwells replaces Aramark, the Boise State basketball team's season, and the 2022 Olympics. And just for laughs, a baby, bubbles, and unruly passengers in the air. These stories and more up next on Take One. Boise State Dining Services announced on January 31st that it has officially entered into a new contract with Chartwells Higher Education as their new food vendor. Most current and former Boise State students are familiar with the name Aramark, as they have been the food vendor at BSU since 2006. With Aramark's contract expiring this year, it was evident to many that the university would look to bring their business elsewhere for the coming years. In September of last year, the Boise State student government, known as ASBSU, formally condemned the company because of their failure to keep Aramark-run restaurants open on campus due to consistent employment issues. Regardless of whether or not Boise State's final decision to end their Aramark relationship was due to this issue, many within the campus community are excited about this new change. About the change, Student Body President Kenneth Houston has said, ASBSU Executive Council is pleased to see the recently released letter of intent that describes its pending commitment to Chartwells being brought to campus as the new dining vendor. Chartwells currently serves over 300 colleges, and their contract is set to last 5 years. But don't worry, students. Vendors like Guru Donuts, Paddles Up Poke, and Poppy Seed Cafe aren't going anywhere, as they are not affiliated with the on-campus food vendor. Now, over to you, Skyler.
Thanks, Christy. Samsung announced their latest phone, the Galaxy S22. Samsung is arguably the only real competitor to the Apple's iPhone, though not by much. Apple holds a steady 60% market share in the United States. Samsung, only about a 20% market share, which brings up the question, is Apple's business plan that got them to this particular market share ethical? Now, I'm not saying Apple doesn't make good products. The company is well known for releasing only the highest quality stuff and stuff that innovates the industry. That, however, does not change their actions after they sell you their product. Apple as a company specifically designs their tech to not integrate well with other platforms like Android or Linux. Hell, even their choice in cables with their Thunderbolt port are entirely designed to make switching away from their product line harder and harder. Apple even admits this. It was revealed during the court case of Apple versus Epic that Apple had the capability of making its proprietary software like iMessage work with Android. However, chose not to do so because they didn't want any reason for someone to switch away from their phones. It took government intervention to force Apple to adopt their USB-C for their phones instead of using their proprietary Thunderbolt port. Apple Watch barely functional on Android. AirPods lose several features on Android. iCloud completely incompatible with Android. Mounds of useless chargers and dongles. It's impossible to leave. Like an abusive ex that keeps you isolated from your friends, you're only allowed to hang out with pre-approved friends that Apple deems suitable. Now, for a pre-approved friend with grace and sports.
Thanks, Skyler. The Olympics wrapped up this past weekend, and Team USA took home a total of 25 medals, taking 4th place in the overall medal count. Many historic things took place during this year's Winter Olympics in Beijing, but one of the most memorable was Shaun White's retirement. White has been snowboarding in the Olympics for the past 25 years and finished his career placing 4th on the halfpipe. When asked about the legacy he leaves behind, he replied, "You're watching it. These younger riders. They've been on my heels every step of the way, and to see them finally surpass me is, I think deep down, what I always wanted." With only 3 games left in the basketball season and the current standing of 22-5, the team's chances of winning the Mountain West Championship are looking up. The Broncos have never advanced in the Mountain West Championship, but many are speculating that they will make it to the NCAA tournament if they can pull this off. This will be their first one since the 2014 to 2015 season. So make sure to tune into the last few games of this incredible season to cheer on our Broncos. Now, let's see what Eric and Ben have for us out on campus.
Hello, and welcome to this brand new segment called Bird on the Street, where I, Ben Lucca, and my friend over here are going to try to interview some geese. So far, they are not really wanting to talk, but man, the secrets these birds must be holding is just amazing to think about. Well, here he is, our goose interpreter, Eric Ryan. How's it going?
It's going good. You know, I had a couple over there that I knew they wanted to come in, but I get it. It's fetching season, so that's all right.
Yeah, do you think the bitter cold has anything to do with it?
I think they love the bitter cold, honestly. I mean, it definitely has something to do with us, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're real chilly.
Well,
But
my
no, they're
hand's
feathered
frozen.
down and greased up, and so.
All right, well, should we ask them a few questions? Maybe we can interpret my questions to them.
Yeah,
See
they're
if we.
coming in.
Oh, holy
Yeah,
moly!
they're coming in right. Come on down, boys.
I almost said a very bad word, but all right, let's get to the questions.
do
So
it, yeah.
maybe ask them if they are gaggle affiliated.
Yeah, I can do that for you right now. Let me just.
All right. Easy on those noises there.
Okay.
Might get people thinking some other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no response on that
Yeah, we're
one.
waiting for.
All right, well, I got another good question.
Okay, yeah.
So ask them, are your teeth just for show, or do you let those chompers sing?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, no response there, but I'm pretty sure that's because he's making monkey noises and not
No, I'm
not
wrong.
goose ones. But all right, well, that's the end of this segment. Probably the last time you'll ever see us doing this. I hope at least.
Yeah.
Well, back to you guys in the studio.
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. I've got a glorious. I'm really upset about geese, actually. I stepped in some poop on my way to class today.
I am so sorry to hear that.
It's the worst.
I know.
It's
I
awful.
agree.
And then the kid with
Horrible.
asthma is going to end up dying in my class because it's going to get
Oh.
ingrained in the fibers of the carpet. And
Well, speaking of pieces of crap, an American Airlines flight from LA to DC was diverted to Kansas City yesterday due to an unruly passenger who had, according to witnesses, attempted to enter the cockpit before being intercepted by flight staff and handed over to FBI custody during the premature landing. This comes as airlines continue to face some of the worst passenger behavior in years, with the Federal Aviation Administration having just reported that 2021 saw nearly 6,000 cases of unruly passengers. Over 70% of those were mask-related. So listen, I understand that we're all having a hard time as we trudge into the third year of a global pandemic. But before almost bringing a plane down because you couldn't stand a piece of fabric on your face, think about the fact that airplane rides are literally never a good time for anybody. I had a trip back home from Boston last year, and the row in front of me was infested with these young twins who didn't stop yelling and crawling over the seats for the entire 6-hour flight. Honestly, I would have been impressed with the amount of energy they had if it didn't also make me feel like I was in hell. How old were they, you ask? Old enough. Now, could I have started a scene with the unchristian language I had in mind for them? Of course! But I took my little Xanax and I fell asleep, like any self-respecting adult does. Now, I'm sorry that you feel very oppressed because your wife left you and now the stewardess is asking you for the third time to please keep your mask over your damn nose. But first, think about the fact that you are literally barreling through the sky with 100 other people and a giant hunk of metal that costs more money than your life. Why tempt fate with the people making sure you continue to defy the laws of gravity?
a man in Iowa is under arrest for feeding a baby that wasn't his. 36-year-old Adam Wettig is being charged with 2 accounts of criminal trespassing after he broke into a local hospital and slipped into the baby's room as a nurse was exiting. Police still don't know why exactly this man was compelled to feed the baby. However, they don't believe that he intended to harm the newborn. Well, sorry, Adam. Perhaps once you get out of jail, you can get your own baby to feed, or maybe just adopt a dog instead.
Oh, I just got a message, and would you look at that? It's a green bubble. And you know what that means? No reaction, horrible group chats, text lag, fuzzy pictures. I mean, come on, even Android users hate texting. They use every other platform other than SMS. Us blue bubbles, however, know the simplicity and ease of texting via iMessage. We can easily leave our exes on red, simply heart a message rather than using brain cells to come up with a response. Blue is such an aesthetically pleasing color, like blue skies, gorgeous, blue oceans, stunning. I get a green message and I just want a green emoji barf. Green bubbles, do us and yourselves a favor. Convert to blue bubbles.
I mean, I think there are some
Somebody
things
just
that
hearted
Android
my
does.
somebody just hearted my text message about stopping geese on campus. I love it.
Well, I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
I still think there are reasons to go with an Android phone. You know, not everybody can afford a $1,200 phone. You know.
You can pay it off over 36 months rather than 24 now, which is nice. Super affordable.
Oh yeah.
Is your
super
phone paid off
affordable.
right now?
Yes.
How fast does it die?
You know, I can get a good 2 texts in, a YouTube
Before
video maybe.
before it dies.
Yeah.
And it's an Android?
Yeah.
You might as well just have the same issue, but have an iPhone.
Fair enough.
All right, that being said, let's toss it over to Madeleine. Only Madeleine. At the Love Shack.
It's been 9 days and 15 hours, who's counting, since Valentine's Day, and I feel extremely, extremely alone, especially since Jordan's not even here today. Yeah, I thought that I'd reached a low during Valentine's Day, and now I'm feeling pretty bad, so I honestly might just go home. I don't even know what.
Did you say you needed a co-host?
It's so weird, yeah.
Crazy.
Oh my god, I feel
That's
so unprepared.
that's so crazy.
Let's talk about types.
Oh, okay.
What is your go-to type?
It's a short list. Cute and funny.
Oh yeah.
It kind of.
That's kind of like my list.
Oh really?
Yeah, mine's like hot and funny.
Oh, perfect.
Crazy,
Yeah,
it's,
you know. It's
similar.
crazy how the red flags then turn green
They turn
magically.
the minute that somebody cracks so say toxic, horrible,
unaccountable,
never texts you back,
right?
Funny. It's like
it's like
here, right? It's getting a little hot in here.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm like
you're into me.
Trance.
I just assume if you're being funny and you're cute,
Then you're in love with me.
you must be.
Like clearly.
Clearly, you said it,
you do all these other bad things, but like who cares? You can crack a joke.
You made me laugh, so.
Yeah, I think that I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think you really can't go wrong with comedy, good looks.
Good looks.
Sorry if you're not those two things, then we'll
Yeah.
kick you to the curb. Let's send it over to the 360 studio.
Last week, audiences from around the world began tuning into the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics in hopes of cheering on their countries straight to gold. However, the athletes representing these countries are finding that life in the Olympic Village is not quite what they expected. Because we are still in the midst of a global pandemic, COVID-19 is undoubtedly a large component in this year's games. The athletes who have had to undergo quarantine whilst attending the event are facing nightmarish-like conditions. In order to keep the public and their teammates safe, those who have tested positive are sent into outside hotels in Beijing for the duration of their quarantine period. However, it seems as though these so-called quarantine hotels will not be getting a 5-star Yelp review. Athletes are reporting that these hotels have little to no internet connection, and for athletes who have traveled across the globe to compete in these games, having no ability to stay in contact with their family members and teammates while being quarantined alone is not just isolating, but also can be extremely scary. Along with this, the zero access to fitness equipment is not ideal for athletes as they try to stay in tip-top shape while preparing to compete in Beijing. Russian biathlon competitor Valeria Venetsova posted via Instagram, "My stomach hurts, I'm very pale, and I have huge black circles around my eyes. I want all this to end. I cry every day. I'm very tired." Venetsova continued on her social media explaining that she received the same mediocre meals for 5 days straight. Organizers of the games say they are working to fix these problems and taking action to keep the athletes as comfortable as possible in these difficult times. And that's all the time we have for today's episode. Thanks to all the crew and writers. I'm Christy Amstutz.
I'm Skyler Nations.
And I'm Grace Swanke. Join us next time where we'll have a new friend stop by the Spec Studio. We'll see you next time on Take One.